Good morning. Great to see everyone this morning. Glad you made it here. Um, so this week, we are going to explore doing yoga with a chair. So I have a chair behind me. So I'm just mentioning that right away so that if you, so I sent out an email earlier this week and let people know of what's coming up. So if you didn't get that, then you could jump up right now and grab some kind of a chair. You might notice I have a folding chair, but any just kind of solid chair, maybe not a lazy boy chair, um, maybe even a stool or something like that would work in a pinch. Yeah. And as usual, if you don't feel like using the chair prop, then you don't have to. Heck, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing. But I find that the chair can be a great way of exploring alignment. Often it's just less demanding on the body of what you're asking, the amount of flexion in your joints, and so it can be a great place to explore. And then, of course, you can kind of go deeper into the pose if you want to. Um, Yeah, but I sometimes call it like when we explore these physical positions, it's good to go kind of mild, medium, and hot, that um in that way we just it's a really nice approach to this relationship that we have with the body. So, the other part of what I was exploring, so usually I put in some instruction of physically what we're going to do, the asana work, but then like mental alignment, what are we doing? So, one thing I do both yoga practice and in my everyday life is I'll just drop in this question like, honey, where is the dukkha right now? It just, and I will suddenly realize things that I'm not, I just have like a surface awareness of. It's almost like looking at, well, what thorns are in your heart right now? What's there? And it's just a really beautiful question to ask yourself, like, honey, what's going on? What's happening right now? And like, when you ask that question, like all of a sudden, like, oh, just thank you for asking. And just see, what happens when you ask yourself that question. Now, a good place to do this, a good arena would be in our yoga poses. Honey, where's the dukkha? Because here we're really undertaking this training of having this reflective question all the time during our practice. Where's the dukkha? Looking for dukkha arising. So dukkha is any kind of what we call pain and suffering, but mostly what we're looking for are the ways that we're actually creating it ourselves, physical ways that we're pushing ourselves. The relationship with our body is like, I'll tell you, we're going to do this now. The pose looks like this, and we get tight. So any little thorn like that we're bringing in, we're going to pull that thorn out. All right. So we're actually going to start in the chair. Totally optional if you don't have a chair. But what I find, so rather than if you always start cross-legged, sitting on the floor, that can be a really, excuse me, challenging pose to start in, right? Cross-legged pose. Oh, so if you sit in a chair, well, this is a lot more reasonable. Like last week, we talked about the spine, and I was thinking, like, if we're really just honoring the spine, this would be a great pose to start in. Because boy, especially, I'm inching towards the edge of the chair here. Boy, is it easier. Just less effort to really have the spine aligned. So what I'm looking for is the tilt of the pelvis so that I have the slightest bit of lumbar curve, but then I can just lift right up. Feet are planted, getting that tilt of the chin just right. Wide across the chest. So you start that widening, bringing space in. So from the grounding is the lifting up, and then just reach your arms wide out. Bring the arms all the way up. Take a big inhale. Feel that grounded quality, like you're really just pressing down to lift up. Release the arms, reach way out to the side, bring the arms down, and just do this. Breathe through your nose, maybe close your eyes as you inhale, you bring the arms up. And the exhale, releasing down. So here's that energy in the spine that we're waking up, that work, almost like understanding the work involved in just having a body and remembering this. That there's a physical alignment and that you can really affect your energy just by breathing in and really drinking in the breath and that letting go, that exhale. So if you were to ask yourself, honey, where's the dukkha? Where's the pain and suffering right now? You might notice that things have already changed. So this right here is this beautiful act of self-compassion. So we have this authentic feeling like I'm just taking care of myself right now. Now, next time you bring your arms up, you could face your right side a little bit, and then as your arms come down, notice where your hands, like I'm just kind of threading my back hand onto the chair so that I'm taking a little bit of a twist. Just that right amount. There's no strain. It actually is helping me decrease the tension. And then your arms come back up. You go back to center. And then you twist that little bit of that twist to the left. But where do your hands go that support that? Why? Lots of space in your chest. And then the arms come up again, just reaching. And then just taking the left arm down. And again, if it kind of pulls on the chair, it pulls your arm down, but then the opposite arm goes up. You're just grounding, opening the one side, and then you're switching. Just kind of a preliminary warming up here. Throat is aligned, and then just bringing the arm down. Good. So I'm going to take my feet into position, bring them in a little bit, because we're actually going to go in and out of a squat pose. It's a great practice of like slow motion, standing up and sitting down. So you have to lean forward a little bit, and then you push into your feet. You reach your arms forward. You come all the way up. And then you start to bend your knees, reach your arms forward, and you gradually, maybe you just kind of hover above your chair. And then you lightly sit down. You can bring your arms down. You can do this in your own way. You come all the way up. Lift and get really tall. Explore this mountain pose. And then you start to sit. But keep the heart really light and lifted. Lightly, very lightly sitting. Like I'm just sitting briefly for a moment. And then I come back up. No flexion in your hips, going to work that action, and then you sit. Light, light, light. Even aware of the alignment in your legs, that they stay parallel, feet stay parallel, even waves, lift up, sitting. The seat really reaches back to sit down. Let's do one more. We come up. Breathing. And then chest light as you sit down. Good. Now, as you come up to standing again, it's going to sweep up. Your arms can come down. And you're going to go back to your mat. We are going to start with our chair downward facing dog. Boy, do I love this one. We have done as a modification down dog at the wall, where we took our hands up the wall. But down dog with the chair is you're just going to hold wherever makes sense for your hands. So I'm just holding the sides of the seats of the chair. Keep the chair on your mat so it doesn't slip. And then here, it's a great awareness of your pelvis, like you're reaching your hips back, 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 back. Remember, there's no dukkha. Like if you start to feel some pain here, I'm continuing to step my feet back. Now, this takes a lot of strength through your arms. And I'm slightly untucking my tailbone as I reach my hips back. Oh, legs are really strong. Breathing here. Now, you could come up for a moment. One other variation, if your hands don't like this, is you could go palms down on the chair, depending on the surface of your chair. Some people also put a yoga mat on their chair. Now, I have the base of my wrists at the edge of the chair. I also really like this one. Reaching back, engaging. So really notice the effort, the doing here as you move into this. It's a little less weight bearing than the floor. Moving now, as you transition, you're going to go to a plank pose. So you might shift your hands. You can let the heels lift a little bit as you pull your tailbone in. And you lift your chest slightly. Yeah, again, move your feet. So really kind of play with this because this chair alignment you might not be used to. So it's good to play with it. Now we'll just go back and forth. We'll do, like, I'm just going to shift my hands a little bit. Back to my down dog. Lengthen through sides of the body as you pull those outer hips way back. And you just move to your down dog. To your plank pose. Let this go back and forth. Really wake up strength. If you feel like you'd rather do this with just on your mat or at the wall, you can do that. Explore different hand positions. Sometimes that little thorn can stay in, like, ooh, this is hard, and we get that. That can still flavor our attitude of, like, this is hard. I don't like this. This is hard. So that's where wisdom really needs to come in, is that this difficulty, this work we're doing is needs to be understood. Like, yes, I am intentionally moving into these sensations of difficulty in order to strengthen. This is how we strengthen ourselves in so many ways. There's this friction of doing the work. Anytime, in fact, anytime you learn something new, it's hard. So now go ahead and just walk your feet towards the chair. And then straight legs, strong straight legs, straight up and down, and then just reach your chest forward. Now you might kind of pull up to your fingertips and really reach your chest forward, even like a cow pose, like I'm in a little back bend. And then fold forward to your Uttanasana, possibly head hitting the chair. So I'm in a position where just my forehead is lightly touching my chair. My head could go further, but I'm just touching here, keeping legs strong. And I'm going to lift up to my flat back again. Even that slight back bend where I really reach the chest forward. And then head drops down. The other option is I could step away from the chair and actually let my head drop. More of my full Uttanasana. Then as I come all the way up, push into the feet, reach the arms way out, all the way up. I'm going to step back from the chair a little bit, keep the feet plenty of distance apart, and just move into bigger a little sun breath here. Exhale all the way over, head drops. The inhale, you come all the way up. So just move, breathe freely here. Noticing this like fluid action, and that the spine does do a little cat and cow movement here. And next time you're up, you're going to stay up. The arms can come down. So we're going to use the chair. One of my favorite things to do is, you can tell I have a lot of favorites working with the chair, is to practice balancing. So I'm going to stand on my right leg. And actually part of this is your arm position, your spine is strong, and you're going to lift your left knee a little bit. So there's a moment of balance. Lift the knee high, and then as you straighten that left leg, just lightly touch the heel on the chair. So you have that support. This is a variation of your tree pose. What I love is that there's not a lot of flexion in the left hip. You can just stay there a couple breaths. And I'm just going to point out, there's the other option. I switched my chair around. I am going to bring a blanket in. So you might use some padding here. I'm using that on my metal chair. And all that happens here is the same thing. I'm going to lift my left knee up, and I'm going to place my ankle on, just lightly resting. So this is going to be a little more demanding. So you get to choose. Like, you don't want to do this if it's going to increase your stress or your dukkha. If you want to bring the arms up, like, oh, that's another level of work. So we want to move into that doing the work, just the right level. Feel the standing leg. Notice the soles of your feet are very open. And then letting go of your balance pose. Pause. Now, as you go to the other side, you could choose one of those two options, the foot on the seat of the chair or up on the back of the chair. Either way, there's that lifting of the knee. Like, you could, really keep the back nice and straight as you extend and place the foot lightly. So just breathing here, explore, explore, explore. Your pose here, aligning physically. And then, part of our dukkha is our whole attitude here. Oh, how am I relating to this? Could I be free? Breathe, feel. You can actually notice when you're holding a pose that you keep moving into it. I describe it for myself, what it feels like is like every cell of my body gradually arrives here. So I'm not partially here, I'm completely here. The breath really can help bring that fullness, that completeness. So go ahead and release. Bring the arms down. The foot comes down. Move away from the chair and just take a few of those sun breaths. That inhale up, the exhale over, just that fluid spine again. Yeah, next time you're up, you're going to stay up. Now for this next one, I'm going to suggest, actually, you could use either direction again, but I'm going to show this just using my foot on the seat of the chair. If you really want your leg higher, you can stay there. But the idea is that this is more about twisting, rather than how high your leg is. So I'm going to balance on that left leg again. Now I'm just placing my right foot on the chair. Notice that I'm not like leaning forward on that right foot. Rather, I'm standing, really planting my standing leg. Again, I'm balancing on my left leg. Now the arms are going to go up. But from here, I'm going to twist to my right. I'm going to reach the right arm back. Just take left hand on that right thigh. What a great way to twist. If you can really get into the details of this alignment, like enjoying your twist, make sure you're grounding that left heel, that you're not suddenly leaning onto that right foot. Because we are still working the strength of standing upright. Straight up to the spine. And even through your neck is long. Throat is soft. Twisting. Release. And you could practice like lift that right knee and then place the foot down. So as you go to the left side, you lift the knee or the left leg lifting, lightly placing foot on the chair. Standing tall, upright on the right leg, the arms come up. The whole time you could really breathe here and just feeling. Now as you twist to the left, you reach that left arm back. The right hand can touch the left thigh. Feel, feel, feel at just the right amount. So you're grounded. Just the right effort. And then as you let go, as you untwist and come back, get taller and taller and taller. Lift the left foot and then place the foot down. So that balancing, staying really tall and twisting, you're going to take some time and go back and forth. We're going to do this in a more dynamic way. And the whole time you're working, balancing, not tipping. So bringing the right knee up, lightly placing the foot, but get tall, lift the chest, arms come up, and then right into your twist. Like, grounded, light, throat is aligned, enjoying. Because it's nice with twisting to get that repetition, moving in and out of it. So as I let go of the twist, lift my foot lightly, foot down, and then that left knee lifts right up. Place the foot. I like to just bring the arms up for a moment. Twisting. Grounding. Feeling the body that's almost relaxing into this. So what's really relaxing is like your skin, deep in the body is working. Release the twist. Lift the foot. Left foot down, right leg lifting up. Now you can go back and forth, your own pace here. I'm going to just stop talking, give you a little time to practice your own way. Maybe you don't want to use the chair. Like you could keep your leg lifted. You could even straighten that leg if exploring this pose. Explore back and forth. We're talking about like mild, medium, and hot. The chair you might use as a little transition. And then, possibly lifting the foot or straightening the leg. Just letting the body kind of sing its song here. That, this is both strengthening, decreasing in strain, in tension, no physical tension. Breath can flow. Really sustain that alignment through your throat the whole time. Good. Maybe finishing up both sides. And as you finish, we are going to move the chair out of the way for a moment and just move through 2 big sun salutations just to flow, get the body moving. So as you're ready, the arms just come up, real pull, lift up the whole front of the body. Lifting up and then forward bend. Back to your down dog. Your plank pose. Lower down. Legs reaching back, extend through the inner lines of the legs, like reach back through your big toes. As you lift your cobra pose, kind of wiggle the ribs forward. Just right around your brain, your eyes calm. You're in your cobra pose, lengthen and lift your legs for a moment. Just your own way. Releasing, moving back to down dog. Lift your heels way up. Lift your right leg way up. And then step that right foot forward. And then step the left foot forward. Come all the way up. Lift. Take palms together in front of the heart. Breathing here. Arms come up. Beautiful forward bend. Back to down dog. It might help. One wonderful practice here, move to your plank pose, is to listen to your breath the whole time. The whole time, breath is really steady. You're not holding your breath. Lower onto your belly. Now, of course, I'm just taking you through just that little bit of mild, medium. If you want to move deeper into a back bend, please do so. So your back, your spine is really what you're keeping an eye on. Lift the legs, maybe just breathing here. Walk the fingers a little bit out to the sides. Move your shoulder blades around. Just letting them move while you're lifted slightly. And then back to down dog. Getting that pull through your spine. So reach, tailbone back, reach the crown of the head forward a bit. Like you're pulling through your spine. Now that left leg is going to lift up, way up. And then bend that left knee, step forward. And then the right foot steps forward. And you come up and push into the feet, come all the way up. Take palms together in front of the heart. Arms down. So we're going to bring the chair back in. One thing, so I know we've done a bunch of balancing on one leg, but we are going to do one more. This one, as I was playing with the chair, I kind of made this one up. So instead of, we did all this flexion of bringing the leg up, we're going to do a little extension. So you're just going to explore this. I'm going to balance on my left leg. Warrior 3, just with a little touch of the chair. So this means I have to take my right leg back. And you could curl your toes under, or you could have like top of the foot on the chair. Whatever feels right. And then, yeah, you lean forward, you tilt forward a little bit here. But your standing leg has to be straight up and down. Both legs working to straighten, arms can come out. And that's it. Notice the ab work here. You can't let the belly drop. Come on up. And then just switch. Balance on right leg as you reach that left foot back. And if you curl your toes under back there, keep your ankles straight. The leaning forward, you explore, like you're not trying to lift upright here. Rather, you're lengthening, and that's work, to keep spine strong, the standing legs straight up and down, arms out. Coming up. So pause here for a moment, noticing that work. And again, should we do this where we just kind of play going in and out of this? It's going to be difficult of just I love how the Buddha had these instructions of good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. Really applies for going in and out of yoga poses. You might keep your arms kind of out to the side the whole time. Reach that right leg back. Lengthen the spine. Now, even though your back toes are touching, could you almost lift that back leg? So just a little toe touch. And then as you come up, you just place both feet down. And then the opposite leg going back. Breathing. Long. Coming up. Doing this back and forth. Just a little shifting, moving, explore the alignment. There's other arm variations. Sometimes you might explore palms together in front of the heart the whole time. If that just, takes out that strain of the arms. Or you could make this more challenging. When you reach your leg back, reach your arms forward. That reaching back, reaching forward. And this one, you really feel that midsection. I really have to lift my navel. And then finishing up, whichever is that second side. So you'll notice that using the chair as a prop, it's not always meaning like this is going to be a lot easier. So shift back and do a couple of your Utkatasana here. So I'm showing from the side how I reach my arms forward. I start to sit. Arms could come all the way up. Lightly sitting. And coming up to standing. As you start to sit, your arms could go forward. Sitting. Lightly, you could keep arms up if you want more work. Standing. Sitting. Lightly sitting. Coming up. And bringing arms down. Let's go ahead and face the chair. So we're going to move into Warrior One and Partial Tanasana. So the right foot is going to go a little bit under the chair. And the left foot will step back. So at first you could have both legs straight. So with Warrior One, I want to bend that front knee. I have to inch my knee forward actually quite a bit. Because what I'm looking for is a little touch of my right shin. So when I really bend that right knee, my shin is touching. Even a sense like right shin is straight up and down. So back leg, I'm going to choose where I'm placing it so I can straighten it. But there's a tendency that as we're in this pose holding it, that we start to straighten that right leg a little bit. So this is, that chair is helping you sustain. Arms can go out. Lift the navel. Keep that little touch of the chair with your right shin, arms coming up. So feel kind of that reaching forward to the chair and the reaching back to your back heel. Strength lifting up through your spine. Breathing and feeling the ribs lifting up here. And then as you straighten the front leg, arms come down. Let's just take hands on the hips so you could feel that pretty much your hip bones are pointing towards the chair. And start to untuck your tailbone as you move towards Tanasana. So you could take your fingertips just so lightly on the chair. Just make sure you don't suddenly round your back. So you reach your heart forward, hips go back. As you start to lengthen, lengthen, lengthen into this forward bend. Legs are strong, knees, very aware. So if you start to lower your head, lower your forehead towards the chair, please make sure that your right hip doesn't suddenly drift forward. So I love this little touch of the chair. There's not, you're not pouring weight on your hands here. You could, but let's practice like strong legs, very light fingertip touch. And then as you start to come up, you bend that right knee again. Light touch of the chair, move back into your warrior one. Internal space. Even your toes could really extend out here. Straighten that front leg. If you want to, take hand position of palms up on the lower back. Lift your chest, Tanasana. Extend. So here all you would then have possibly is that little touch of the forehead on the chair. Or go back to the hands on the chair. You know how ultimately we listen to wisdom, not so much me, but the wisdom of your body. Make sure your belly is dropping towards your thigh. You're not pulling your navel up here. Good. So as you come up, you're just pushing your feet. That back foot could step forward. Just come back to standing. So let's do the other side. That left foot under the chair. Right foot stepping back. But as you do this, make sure you don't suddenly, like your navel doesn't suddenly open to the right. You are keeping chest, navel, hip bones facing the chair. So as we explore Warrior One, you start to bend that left knee. Expiration, that line through your chin. So it has to touch the chair. Straighten the right leg. Now tailbone draws in. You start to lift up, you reach your arms up. So get into the details here now. It's like we're looking for the little thorns. Where is that little bit of tension here? We look deeper and deeper. Or is there a part of the body that really is kind of checking out. So every cell here. Left leg starts to straighten. Keep the chest really lifted as you untuck your tailbone. So it's the pelvic action that takes you into your Tanasana. The very light touch of your fingers, why not? Get a little chair space. It really doesn't help the fact that you have to really ignite your legs here and reach your chest forward. As you start to drop your head, make sure there might be a point where you suddenly pull your navel up. Like, oops, we want to keep that folding over, belly dropping, maybe forehead touching. Now I realize you might be able to go further, but you could just stay with that little touch. And just get into the straightening of the leg or reaching of the hips back. So you have this time to explore what's going on. Ground the base of the left big toe and reach the outer left hip back. Bend of that left knee. So as you start to come up, now in the pelvis, there's that pulling in of the tailbone. You reach back up, warrior one. Ah. Good, and then releasing. The back foot steps forward a little bit and both feet back to your Tanasana. Arms down. So two of my other favorites are taking a triangle pose and revolve triangle pose with the chair. So we're going to start. I'm going to leave the chair right where it is. And I'm going to step my feet wide apart like so. So that, and I'm just going to describe this where, as if you were going to your right side. But whatever foot is under the chair, you're going to rotate that foot. So it points under the chair. And that opposite foot points in a little bit, preparing for Trikonasana triangle pose. There's that lifting up through the legs. That lifting up actually results in the lift of the navel or the pelvic floor pulling up. And then you hinge in that hip so that you start to release out to the side. Lightly take that bottom hand on the chair. Again, you might feel like, oh, I could go further than this. But what a great place to stop and study. And really remove the thorns. Like, okay, yeah, this is doable. It's very doable. I think I'll stay here and enjoy this. Top arm, I'm going to reach up. Now, just let the body, if it wants to sneak deeper into this, you might just bend the bottom elbow a little bit. But notice the effort, like, oh, gotta be aware of the alignment. So that bottom elbow could straighten or bend, and that's going to affect your hip, your hips and what's happening in your pelvis, how much flexion. So breathe straight in the legs, really grow the legs, so the feet are open. If this really lowers, you might even put forearm on the chair, but it's good to notice if you do that, if you start to like sink your chest in order to do that, well then come up like that, that's the dukkha. coming in, straining. Oh, much better here. Ah, yeah. And then now as you come up, one other thing we could do right here, bending that knee that's near the chair. And then as you come up, what are you going to? Warrior two. Adjust feet. Here's that same thing of just reaching that shin to the chair. Reach the arms out. So now spine, torso, like straight up and down. Maybe spread toes again. Aware of feet. Up through the spine. Good. And then as arms come down, straighten, and then just take feet forward, step together. I'm going to shift my chair to the other side and let my dog out. You could prepare for this other side. So Trikonasana, three-angled pose. Foot opening under the chair, strong straight legs, pull up, lift the pelvic floor. And there's that hinge in the hip. That opening the soles of the feet, the very light touch on the chair, very light. So you're not like, sinking at all. In fact, this really brings in this energy. And from here, just exploring, get into those fine details of alignment. Deep in the body, the energy flowing with the strong legs. Still pelvic floor lifting. That top arm. With the chair here, I'm not going to reach my arm really straight up to the ceiling. It'll go to the side so I can feel my shoulder blade press on the back, maybe bend of the left or that bottom elbow. The skin very relaxed, deep strength in the body. The space around your brain. As you're coming up, breathing, coming up out of this bend, that knee, that the foot is under the chair, you might shift feet, shift your chair a little bit. Pelvic floor lifting, as arms extend. So steady here. Breathing, feeling. Letting go. So let's just say right where you are at. Let's just step towards the chair. Okay, so final standing pose using the chair. I'm just going to say, I think this one is my ultimate favorite, using the chair, because it just feels so much more doable. The chair helps so much. We'll take right foot under the chair, left foot stepping back, and just going to your forward bend, kind of your Tanasana again, this light touch of the chair. Now, this side with the right foot under the chair, my left hand will stay on the chair, and I'm going to take right hand to the hip, press into the feet, ground the legs as you twist. So this is our revolved triangle pose. I find with the chair, it's easier to keep the legs straight, keep the spine straight. That right arm starts to reach back. Now, make sure across your chest, lots of space. Same idea, that bottom elbow could bend if you really want to lower down here. Twisting. Legs are hugging together. Untwist. Let's step the right foot back and move briefly to down dog. Holding onto the chair, kind of wave your tail back there, lengthen. It's like your whole pelvis is pulling back away from your ribs. We'll just do the other side. So that left foot steps forward. Back foot, grounding. So get that kind of lift of the chest, almost a cow pose, like almost a little back bend here. Just to make sure that you're not, kind of rounding your back in this. Lift as high as you need to. So spine is straight. Keep right hand on the chair. As soon as, I like taking left hand on the hip. So I can tell like I'm opening my left shoulder in order to twist. So I get that up of the shoulder. Rather than like reaching my arm back and my shoulder is pushing forward. Lengthen the legs. Grow the spine here. So if I can tell, I really have my footing, grounding, and maybe then I'll roll that left shoulder blade onto your back as you reach your arm back. So you definitely have the left hand on the chair, but it, again, kind of that light touch. Your weight is on your legs. Whole body doing this now. Hug the legs together. Untwist. Again, as the hands come down, move back to any variation of your down dog here. Release the pubic bone back between the legs. Do not pull your pubic bone forward. Good, and then let's just walk forward towards the chair. Go ahead and sit down on the edge of your chair. So we're going to get in some nice deep rotation in the hips. This variation of the number 4 pose. So in a way, it doesn't matter, which leg you're starting with here. I'm keeping my right leg down and I'm going to cross my left over. But notice as I'm doing this, like I'm exploring this top knee dropping down rather than kind of popping up. So as best you can, that dropping down is a rotation in your hip. We lift up. So that's important. Like your ribs are really lifting up here. Spine is strong as that knee is dropping. And then the intensity kind of grows if you hinge forward. So this is your pelvis tilting. It's not your spine rounding. Extend forward. So your tailbone is untucking. It's not scooping under. As you extend forward here, so this is active. You're really doing this pose. If it makes sense, you could bring your forearms down. Sides of the body lengthening. So an effort of really growing the spine here, not suddenly caving your chest in. Coming up and switch. Crossing and noticing what's happening in this hip. So we start just upright. We get that real lift, the ribs up, the dropping of the hips. So it's almost like you're lifting out of your hips, like a lightness. And then, so when you kind of release forward, pause. Like as soon as you feel sensation, it's good to pause and give the body time. Where's the dukkha? Is there any little thorn here? Even that little thorn of like, I wish I could do this better. Just removing that and being right where you are. Ah. When we free ourselves of these thorns, this is when we really move deeply into the experience. There might be just this spontaneous joy, delight that has nothing to do with what you look like. Your success or failure. It's just here I am in my body breathing. So come on up, push down, both feet come down to the floor. And then from here, we'll just do a really easy twist. Okay, maybe this one is my absolute favorite because your pelvis, it's much easier to really get that lift of your spine. You're not straining in your hips. So just take a little twist to your right. And as you're twisting, play with where your hands go. So wherever your hands go, if you're holding onto the chair somewhere, just make sure that your sides of the body stay long. You're not listing over to one side. And you have space in your chest. You're not suddenly contracting around your chest. Feel your feet grounding and feel your seat grounding. This one too, it could be good to inhale, let go of the twist a little bit, like let go of that effort. And then move into it. So you're exploring just the right effort. Inhale, slightly release, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, like, twisting. You might even, explore the head action. Like, how much are you looking back? Really fluid through the spine. And then as you let go, just come back towards the front. And you start to go the other side, just a little bit at first. With no agenda, like you'll never know like how twisty the spine really feels today. Some days it might float into this, other days it's just rigid. You just let yourself explore. In a way that you drop in that beautiful inquiry. Honey, where's the dukkha right now? It's possible to be free. That's why, like, instead of kind of pushing, 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 that you inhale, you let go of the twist a little bit. With that reminder, like, oh yeah, I could be free in this moment. Space in your throat and your mouth. Feet grounding. Good. As you let go of this twist, we're going to take the feet kind of wider apart here. And then just drop down in between your legs. This one really good to be kind of organic here. You might just drop onto forearms. And then the hands move down the legs and just drop your head. As you come up, so we're going to move into Shavasana now. We're going to use the chair. I will demonstrate how to do this. All we're going to do is, and this may or may not work, or you want to do this, but this can be really fabulous if you're dealing with any lower back issues. So I'm going to place my shins on the chair. I've noticed that it actually works okay for me to just place my feet under the back seat of the chair here, so that when I recline, I can adjust. Adjust my shins and my calves and my sacrum, my lower back, and the upper chest. So this position basically is going to release your lower back towards the floor, helping it to completely relax. You might even place hands on the belly. And make sure to just let go here. Keep your awareness inside your body. You're watching, you're bringing full attention to the body. Visiting areas you typically don't visit a lot, very often. Be aware of your skin, soften, liquefy the skin. Aware of your throat, center of the chest. Aware of your belly. And the release deep in the hips that drops your legs. We could cycle through this. We're actually going to start at your forehead and your eyes. These are areas we often have little thorns of tension. And it's kind of more doable to let go. Soften your whole face, eyes, and then throat. You might breathe into these spaces, center of your chest. Feel the wave of breath. Belly. Lower belly or deep in your hips. Forehead, eyes, throat, center of the chest, belly, lower pelvis and hips. Just check out these areas if there's any thorns that we're holding. We could just breathe there. Keeping in mind this greater purpose of cleansing these areas, purifying, removing the thorns, so that our actions and our words are clean. Are free of any greed or hatred. They're meaningful, they're direct, loving, straight from the heart. May I be free of tension for the benefit of all beings. So maybe a deeper breath. Just, right. It's going to move right into the day. It's like now I'm going to live this. Take this with you. Transition, if you wish, back up to seated. So as we bring palms together in front of the heart, we might recognize just, even if there is just a small amount, maybe one little thorn that we took out today. This is what we're doing here. We're planting these seeds. We're sending the heart, the mind into this direction of deep care and love. May all beings benefit. We'll close with the sound of Om. Take a deep inhale. Thank you all so much for practicing with me this morning, or if you're watching this at a different time, thank you for staying for the whole practice. Um, so today is Friday. It is August 21st. And just so you know, if you happen to be here right now, I am holding Zoom class tomorrow morning, 9 to 11. I'm actually going to be out of town starting on Sunday. So I will be out of town from this Sunday, the 23rd, through Thursday. So I will not have class on Tuesday. No Tuesday outside class, no Tuesday night class. So there you go. Yeah, feel free to leave a little comment in the chat if you want to say hi. Um, I'm so appreciative for all of you. You really keep me going. And yeah, and so grateful for these teachings, just keeping my heart buoyant. So appreciative. And of course, I'll just, throw in that reminder that if you want to donate, you can do that. You can donate through the Common Ground Meditation Center website, probably the best way to go. And knowing that part of your donation supports Common Ground, some of it supports me. Yeah. I wish you really just ongoing strength and peace in your life and in your heart. Oh, thanks everyone. So nice to hear from you, Lynn, Julaine, and Michelle. So I'm going to leave it here and we will meet again.